Hello and welcome everybody to
Sweaty
All
Pile.
the Rage Sports Podcast. I hate you, Kevin. As always, I have my lovely panel of analysts, Jace Junk, Andy Stewart, and Kevin Robinson. And today we have a special guest, our resident super fan and our resident Browns expert, Mr. Lonnie White. How are we doing today, Lonnie?
Doing very good, thank you.
Yes.
And I just want to say it is an honor to be on the air with Jace, the most impartial guy in this podcast.
Bias button. Bias
That
button.
warms my heart. Hey, shut up. Me and the man who have actual reason are going to talk here for a second. Thank you, Uncle Lonnie. I'm sorry that I've for so long have had to be your only advocate on this show and be the only one that's really speaking for any truth around here. But often at times, Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King, they had to fight against the green too. You just gotta believe in yourself.
Did you just compare yourself to Martin
Luther King? Little guy like you.
Shit.
Well, I just want you to keep up the good fight. These guys, you don't know how many times I just want to, crawl through this screen and just rip their throats out.
He wishes it was a live broadcast.
Well, actually, I will disagree with you. I will disagree with you. I have to do this podcast a lot with them, so there's quite a few times.
I feel for you.
I wish I had 3 arms to reach through and grab 3 throats.
I was gonna say I have been laid back recently on the fucking Steelers talk.
Again, unlike Rosa Parks, you two belong in the back of the bus, the short bus.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, I did stretch on the civil rights.
Yeah, that was a
reference there, but I was rolling with it. You just
couple
gotta
more
go.
Bush beers.
I got 2 more right here.
Well, so as per normal, today we're going to talk a little more about the opting out. Opting out deadline is Thursday, aka tomorrow, which most of you will be watching this show tomorrow.
What
all of
time's
our
that at?
3 viewers.
4
p.m.
4. Yeah.
4 p.m. So
Uncle Lonnie's going to be vain and watch himself tomorrow. He'll be like, I look great.
Oh man, I am awesome. So there's still a few players out there that I'm thinking of that are still going to opt out, so we'll definitely get into that. We may have to briefly touch on Antonio Brown's weaseled his fucking way back into the news again.
We don't have to talk about him.
I mean, I'll mention him.
Yeah, I mean, it's our podcast. We make the rules. We could just he could be like Voldemort. We could just not speak his name anymore.
Thou shall not be mentioned. And then obviously we're going to talk a little bit about, this season's upcoming. We're not having the preseason. We're going to look at kind of how the NFL is going to compare to some of the other major league sports that are doing well against COVID, and obviously the ones that are not doing well, aka the MLB. So we'll talk a little more about is the NFL putting enough guidelines in place? Are we actually going to be able to fulfill the season? Are we going to actually happen? And then we're going to go dig into some of our Browns talk. We got our Browns expert today, so we're going to talk about what we're expecting, what we liked in the off season, what we didn't like, and what's our expectations. The big thing I've liked this year is no big-headed ego talk this off season. I haven't heard one of them go, "Oh yeah, we're you can count us in for the Super Bowl this year." I wouldn't be surprised. He has 27 kids. So
yeah, they would I figure they're gonna make him.
Well, he
basically he's got like a pilgrim mentality. They're gonna be like, like back when we used to get diphtheria and cholera and shit. You just gotta deal with it.
Half of Indiana.
Back when diarrhea could kill a man.
If you're strong, you'll survive.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's why you have that many kids. So, you can lose one or two and you still be okay.
So we still have some to tend the fields and the oxen. Yeah, that's fucking Phillip Rivers. And
it's just Little House in the Prairie instead of, It's just Little House on the Prairie.
You go.
That's all it is.
I picture Philip Rivers' wife. He comes home from like losing an AFC championship game, and his old lady's out in the front yard churning butter. They go inside, light their whale blubber candles and shit.
And they
All
push
right, moving
the
on. Sorry.
All right. Well, yes, we're gonna have all that and more coming for you on All the Rage Sports.
Are you ready?
Ye old esports.
Ye old All the Rage Sports.
All
right,
the
so-
fervor, upheaval sports.
Well, let's start talking a little bit. I kind of want to start with just the general, all the other sports going on right now, how they're doing well, how they're doing poorly. So let's start for the NBA, for instance. NBA hasn't had any kind of outbreak right now. Am I right? There hasn't been a single case.
No, there's been some
None.
guys that had it before they went into the bubble.
Right. I think Zion
had
was
it
one.
Zion had it.
For a short period, and then everybody's been cleared that's come into the bubble.
Kevin, which
they've
one of
all-
the Morris brothers had it?
Marquise.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't remember. Yeah, I think it was one that the Lakers just signed, which I think is Marcus. I can't remember. Yeah,
Marcus. Okay.
Yeah.
So we had a few that had it prior to, but now that
Didn't JJ
they're
Redick have it?
essentially locked
no, I don't
down
think.
in
No,
Orlando.
I don't remember that.
Okay.
Is basically what the gist is. They are allowed what? They can apply for a freedom pass or something for a day or something like that. And don't they have to go into a quarantine?
They
when
can go
return?
for family emergencies and stuff like that, but when they do that, they come back for a 10-day quarantine period. That's what happened with Lou Williams when he went on his deal there and was out getting his chicken wings. He had to come back and be in full quarantine for 10 days. Also, for the period of time that you're out, you're tested every day you're out as well. You have to test every day. Then you come back in the quarantine, you're tested every day while you're in the quarantine process. And then I think they have, random testing going on throughout the whole thing too. So
let's just look at this real quick. They're all in one location in a state that's probably had the absolute worst amount of outbreaks, yet nothing's happened to them.
Close, yeah.
So it's they're doing everything right, completely locking down.
Well, if you've ever been to Disney World, it's like a different country. It's like
It really is.
It's like being in Rome,
and
then
every
stepping foot
part
into
of
the
it's a
Vatican,
different country.
Honestly.
They
Yeah,
should
and
have did
that's
this in
exactly
Idaho.
it. You have to drive the parks are all separated. You can take the tram in between. They have a monorail system that they can take them in between wherever the fuck they need to go from their hotels and this and that. Disney World is honestly the perfect place to do this. It couldn't be more
I'm not
ideal.
gonna lie. If I was an NBA player and I had to be quarantined in Disney World would be the fucking greatest place to be quarantined.
Right?
Well, no,
I didn't think
no,
they
they're not.
parks
They
and
don't
shit.
have access to the park.
Yeah.
Why the hell not?
They're in their hotels. They
in a
have things
hotel.
that they have access to, like they have video game systems.
I just want to see LeBron and James Harden riding the Dumbo.
I saw the fucking NHL players. They said the NHL players literally golf simulators. These dudes have nets up in their hotel, in the conference rooms at hotels, and they're just going practicing and then bombing balls. Who the fuck? They, how they have taken so good care of these guys, and they've got so much shit to do. They don't give a fuck. They're having the time of their lives. It's like being on. I mean, it's probably not the greatest thing being away from home and kids and stuff like that, but they're making the best of it at least.
Yeah.
The one thing I did hear though is that they're making the NBA players pay for their own food during all this.
Oh.
So,
how are they going to afford it?
It's Disney World.
It's
They'll
not
get
like
you somewhere.
NBA players make good money or anything.
Yeah, but you understand they're not making the same money that they made this year and paying
the
food to pay for crab legs to be brought in and cooked instead of paying your own chef in your house to make the crab legs. Completely different pay scale.
I feel like the chef would be more expensive though. I feel like this is cost efficient.
Well, no, see, because you're having to pay to have them brought in on a daily basis. Where when you know, it's like anything. If you buy more of one thing, you pay less. So they've got the chef there for 7 days. So now you bring in crab legs one day. Well, that's one chef. Then you bring in like chicken wings the next day. That's a different chef. Ribs, that's a different guy.
Imagine
So-
those chefs, though. These chefs are lovely.
Just do what the Raiders do every year at training camp and have Guy Fieri show up and cook your shit for you.
In between, on
He's a huge
work
Raider fan.
release and whatnot.
Yeah, well, that's probably why their defensive tackle got released, because he couldn't pass a physical and he was out of shape.
Yeah, that was actually really depressing. That was PJ Hall.
PJ Hall.
Yeah, he was a late round guy. He actually showed some promise, but I fucking.
And you were going to get a late round pick out of him, but he couldn't even pass a physical in Minnesota.
Yeah. He's.
Do they even have?
Well,
doctors in
that
Minnesota?
should be unfair. I feel like we've all let ourselves go during quarantine, right?
Let me just tell you, I have never weighed over 200 pounds in my entire life, and I weigh 209 right now.
Fat fuck.
You are a fat piece of shit.
Wow.
Yep.
Some of it,
I
I remained
in turn, have
essential.
lost
I'm
40
actually.
pounds during all of this.
You have?
Ooh.
Nice.
Good for
So
you.
I was
For
pretty
those
bad.
of us who have had to go and work,
Yeah, I
it's
was
been
gonna
really
say.
fucking hot outside.
Yeah, the 4 essential workers in this fucking chat, except for you, dickhead.
Hey, I'm back to work. I got laid off during it. I was an essential worker.
Yeah, you were. Oh, you were essential. Yeah, you were sitting on your ass collecting that money at home. That's what
You were
Right, I was.
essentially
I miss it.
a bum.
I miss it.
Hey, look at all 4 of us right now, since we were paying for your unemployment, and say individually you're welcome to all of us.
And all for you, I've been paying for this podcast since we started. So,
Well, I'd say we're probably even now.
No, I think he still came out ahead.
Probably.
Yeah, he went way ahead.
A little bit. So we have the NBA. They're doing really well. The NHL's doing a similar thing where they're kind of left in a city. The Eastern Conference, I believe, is Toronto, and the Western Conference is Vancouver, I want to say. And that's where they're playing all their games. No crowd, no nothing. Like it's really weird because they like pump in noise.
Yeah.
They'll bring in like
MLB 's
crowd
doing the same
noise when
thing.
there's a goal and stuff. It's kind of funky. But it's really cool that they're able to do that. And both of those sports, I mean, basketball is not so much a contact sport, but you're constantly, you play tight defense. There is contact in it. You're not tackling people, but there's a lot of contact. NHL, you're friggin' running over people. So,
Especially if you're LeBron covering Kawhi.
yeah, right.
He put the
So, like-
clamps on that bitch.
It's kind of interesting to see how those dynamics have worked. And they've made lots of guidelines for their players, limiting to them what they can do, where they can go. Their free time kind of is, I don't want to say locked down, but essentially limited. And it's making it so it's safe. Now we look at things like the MLB.
Special guest appearance by Uncle Lonnie and the birds.
Yeah. Hey, at least it's not the dogs like
I was gonna say, I thought that was fucking Andy. I was like, Andy, go get a shotgun and shoot whatever the fuck that is.
Yeah,
That's
Andy
Fox
does
does
the
the
Nope,
yard
that's
dog.
Uncle
Yeah,
I
Lonnie's
was gonna
bird.
say, Andy, you live in the middle of nowhere. If that thing is in the tree right off the porch, just yoke it. I don't care. We'll
Yeah, I'm Snook.
fight PETA. I don't give a shit.
You have to have the bird come on and talk a little Browns.
What kind of bird is
Or
it?
I could have the dogs or the cat too. I mean,
Yeah, he's got a whole zoo at his house.
Is it a cockatiel?
Lonnie
He comes on,
exotic.
he's like Ace Ventura.
no, we have a green cheek conure and a sun conure.
I don't know what that is. Sounds loud.
They
Yeah,
fucking do that when
very
you're trying
much.
to
Is that at
sleep.
night?
Holy shit.
No, they're not covered up yet, so they're still.
Yeah.
Throw a blanket
Oh,
over
Yeah,
them,
as
they
soon
go
as
to
you
bed.
cover a bird's cage, they go quiet.
Damn it! I would never. See...
I every
did not
time
know
I'm
that.
over there, I end up playing with the birds the whole time because I love birds.
He's pissed because he's not with me right now.
That's it.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
usually his time right now.
We'll get him.
Yeah, go get him. Bring him
Yeah,
on.
just bring him on. We can have 6 guests or 6 podcasters today.
Well,
It's gonna look good. When
at
we
least
have
he
our
wouldn't be as
guest star.
biased as some of the people on here.
He would automatically have better opinions than Andy.
What the fuck did I do? I think I'm the most
Bill's running back room.
well-rounded out of all of us, you bastard.
Skills running back room.
We
and
did
just a quick
Wendell Smallwood.
quick side note. Wendell Smallwood signed with the Steelers. So Andy
Did
can
you
have a
see
big
that
dick
fucking
about Wendell
gif I said?
Smallwood.
Sliding right in. Oh, fuck.
And we're going to have to tag Wendell
AFC
Smallwood in every
championship,
podcast now.
Somebody else who is near and dear to Steelers fans' hearts. The Raiders signed Jeremy Hill last week, and like 4 hours ago, we already cut him.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I just saw that. Yeah, he's gone already.
That's
I
pretty
think
great.
it was Victor4 retweeted. It was like, and that was quick. He's already gone.
I literally took time out of my day to text Jason, tell him that I thought that was a decent pickup.
He did.
I did.
I was like, we have Jacobs and Richard on the roster. What the fuck do we need Jeremy
Yeah,
Hill
the
for?
Raiders had 2 guys just opt out this week, and they were evidently not starters. So no big loss for you there, Jace.
I'm going through. I saw about the Patriots and everybody. The only guy I recognize is Jeremiah Valoaga or whatever, and he's been like a practice squad guy here and there. The other 2, they could walk up to me in the street and I wouldn't know who the fuck they were. So
Eligwe or whatever. I don't even know how you say that. Eligwe.
Ukeme Eligwe and
Don't start
DJ
trying to
Killings.
talk, Jesse.
I will.
Yeah,
shout out to DJ Killings for having a fucking great name. But, yeah, he has opted out.
DJ
But yeah,
Killings.
I heard of the one
DJ
guy.
Killings the game.
The one guy's been like a fringe practice squad kind of guy, and the other 2 I've never heard of. So no big losses there for us.
Yep.
Geronimo Allison.
I did. Holy shit! I didn't realize. I just saw the fucking CJ Mosley opted out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
EJ Gade.
That was probably the
CJ Mosley
the biggest
and
name
Jace.
right now. Is
I don't know if
CJ.
you just heard Andy. Geronimo Allison. So go ahead.
And EJ Gaines.
Geronimo!
Geronimo!
The other big one, I think, of the Giants, Nate Solder, opting out was another huge name for them at least.
That was. He's been out for a while.
Yeah, he's
that
been
was
a
on
while.
last week's list. The other thing in COVID news this week for the NFL was that Gardner Minshew had it and immediately beat that motherfucker, just like he's going to do the rest of the AFC South this year, and probably most of the teams that he faces.
All right,
Dante Hightower opted out too.
Gardner Minshew is the Chuck Norris meme of the NFL.
Nobody gives a fuck about Gardner Minshew. Shut the fuck up.
Kevin, this is why Jace always leaves us.
Yes, this is true.
Because he can't
handle that.
He can't handle the truth.
But yeah,
No.
nobody like.
I can handle the truth. That's
We've
why
got
I have
completely
Uncle
off
Lonnie
topic.
here.
Can we bring it back in now? All right, we're on to the next topic. Before
Okay,
we finish
back
the
into
first
Gardner
topic.
Minshew.
So
You would love to be
MLB's
back into Gardner Minshew.
You know what? I'd let him.
You give him a mustache, right?
Okay, we have gone off the rails, host. Let's corral this in here.
Reel it in. All right.
Rein it in.
So what is the MLB doing that's causing all these problems? Now, we mentioned it at the beginning of the show prior to recording, but it was essentially they don't have limitations on their players. They let them go do whatever the hell they want, basically.
Yeah, the
Is that
two
right?
big breakouts you've seen is from the Marlins and the Cardinals, and both of them have been reported that they were out at fucking nightclubs. Well, not in the Cardinals. The Cardinals was a casino. The Marlins went out to nightclubs. They had I think his name is Bob Poncrass, was the reporter, who's a legitimate name in the business as far as sports media, and he was the one who was reporting that they had gone out and enjoying the nightlife, and that's what all that started with, and it pretty much affected almost the whole team. The Cardinals, I think, had 6 or 7 players due to going out to a casino. All the other teams have been fine. They played the Phillies, I do believe the Marlins did, and it was nobody from the Phillies got it.
Yeah.
The Yankees had come into town because they were playing the Phillies next, and they didn't get it. So basically, it's been down to just 2 teams really that got it, and it was because of people being stupid.
Well,
Dumb
wait,
shit.
I'm confused. You mean to tell me pro athletes with no restrictions or limitations placed on them went to the nightclub because they live in Miami? Wow. It's not like anybody, you could tell a fucking 8-year-old that right now and be like, hey, what's about to happen? The 8-year-old would look at you and go, hey, they're going to go out and touch some strippers or something like that. And one of them is going to get the COVID.
They're gonna touch the butthole.
Why have they not? Why did they not place? Why didn't they tell these guys stay in your hotel rooms? Don't
Get some of
travel
that
anywhere.
COVID kitty.
You don't want any of that COVID kitty.
A totally
They had
different type of COVID kitty than we were discussing.
They had-
That
Yeah, you're
has
right.
2 meanings.
God damn it.
Well, apparently
yeah.
too, they both came down with this while they were on the road. Both teams, the Marlins and the Cardinals. So what were they doing out in a strange town? That
You'd think the other team would have been able to tell them this is where you go for your strange and not get the COVID while
Yeah.
you're doing it.
This is the
Well,
COVID
no.
Or
You got to remember,
Or
this
did
is
the other
this is the
team
pro
sabotage
leagues.
them.
Exactly.
The other team
This is
sabotage them and send them to the COVID kitty.
Right.
the professionals. Like, if you want to
Try them.
sabotage your fucking enemy and win the goddamn
Can
game,
we
you send them
now?
to where the COVID is.
Can we sponsor a strip club to change their name to the COVID Kitty now? I think that's the
Well, I
next
don't
logical
think
choice.
you'd want that.
I don't think that's a
because then
good
nobody would
marketing
come
move.
in.
I think after it's
I know,
all
but we
done.
could like one up Barstool if we did that. Like if we just went straight into the strip club game, like skip
Yeah,
all the
that's
other
right.
shit. Like fuck
Yeah.
the pizza reviews, like fuck all that. We're going into the strip club game.
Yeah. We don't even need a sports book app. We're into
All
strippers
Rage
now.
Sports live from headliners.
Quit doing a podcast. We're gonna quit doing
Let's-
a podcast. And we're
Actually,
going
that's $1
straight
million
into strip club.
idea. We could just do a sports book / strip club, and we would literally rake it in.
I like it. Now
Just
we're
as long
thinking
as we stay away from the
progressive.
COVID kitty.
All right, now that we have that plan, I'm out.
Yeah, Andy's like, I'm gonna go like trademark this right now.
I'll go.
Look.
I'll go do extensive
Honey, we're mortgaging
research.
the house.
I'm going to beat El Presidente right now. He's
I'll
gonna
go do
hear this.
extensive research and get back to you.
All
I
right,
have
so
blown out
we
Kevin's
move
name
then
already.
onto
We're
what
ready.
the NFL is planning on doing. They put like hella guidelines, stuff like you're not allowed to be in a household with more than 10 people. You're not allowed to go to the nightclubs and all this other. I mean, there was an extensive terms to it.
Yeah, put out all these guidelines, and then the fucking Eagles put out a video showing a bunch of their players not properly wearing their masks, and then the coach gets the COVID.
Yeah. Who'd have
Doug
thunk it?
Peterson.
Can you leave? Can you go to the nightclub for chicken wings? Is that a provision?
I wish it
Probably
was.
not.
I love chicken wings.
Hashtag
So I guess-
free Lou Will.
I guess the question really is, do we see, like we were talking about in our fantasy league this year, that we're going to add another IR position for COVIDs because we think that, I mean, is it something you think that we're going to run into a lot of people on COVID IR per se
It's
for
all
2
going
weeks
to
at
be
a
based
time?
on restrictions. I mean, if the
Yeah,
NFL
I mean, it's
let
got to be whether the guys
guys
follow the
all kinds of
guidelines.
Shit, you know.
Yeah, if guys follow guidelines, you'll be good. If they don't follow the guidelines, then you're going to see cases just like we've seen in the MLB. And then the bad part is that you have a much larger roster with an NFL football team, and you got a lot more people that you need to play the game.
Yeah.
You've got 22 people essentially, 24 if you count kickers and punters as people, which I do because I'm a Pat McAfee fan.
Punters are people too.
They are.
So 24
Brains.
people that directly are in the game all the time. So you talk 53-man roster, that's half the roster.
Yeah.
So
One other
definitely
thing
will have
too-
an effect.
One other thing too is the NFL players have a lot more downtime where the other sports don't. So they have more time to go out and do stupid
bad shit.
stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
It is true.
I didn't really think of it that way either. It's true that, I mean, you play one game a week as opposed to 3 or 4 on the MLB NHL side. You play every other day, and MLB you play every frigging day. So just about.
One more thing, can we just talk about how well golf is doing with this?
Yeah.
Because they have, I mean, since what's his face got it, I don't think there's been a case.
There's been a couple. There was like a spot up at the beginning where Nick Watney got it.
Yeah,
And,
that's the last one.
Well, no, Watney got it. Brooks Koepka's caddy had it, and then he retested like the next day, and he was negative.
Yeah,
and there was a weird thing with that.
That's
Cameron
what they
Champ
featured on
had
tape.
it, and there was somebody else, Dylan Fratelli. But there's only
Oh yeah,
like-
I didn't tell you that.
like I applaud them because golf's one of those things. They've been to Minneapolis, they've been to Connecticut, they've been to fucking where else have they played? Memphis. They're like the MLB is just really fucking up because golf, they're traveling quite a bit, but these guys are still managing. Obviously, I mean, actually, this doesn't even make that much sense. Baseball and golf are both sports where you shouldn't really be that close to each other at any time. But at the same time, you see where I'm sure that I haven't looked up the restrictions for the PGA players, but what they have to do versus what the MLB players are required to do, there's really not, other than in the sport they actually play, not that much difference in the distance in between them and the protocols that need to be followed. And you
they're
can
doing
see
range.
Andy honestly brings up a good point. The PGA Tour has handled it much, much better than the MLB has.
Yeah.
And it's essentially, if you look at it from solely a distance and, you know, how far apart you are at times perspective and the travel and everything, it's not even close.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're having like range sessions together. You know what I mean? They're eating together still. They're on like the practice greens together. They play their practice rounds together and stuff. And it's still like in
Well,
its
like
shell.
you gotta,
You know what I mean?
you gotta think those guys at that level. I mean, you have guys, obviously, you play Ryder Cup and President's Cups with people, and you're friends with guys, but it's an individual game. You're focused on just doing what the fuck you're doing. And when you're elite at that level, I'd be the same way. Like, even without COVID, I would be like, maintain 6 feet away from me at all fucking times.
Yeah.
I'm working
get
on
the
my
fuck away
putting.
from me.
I'm going to the range. I'm focused, doing what I'm doing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's
Get my
time for
shit
being
done.
friendly, but yeah, most of the time in golf, you're by yourself and you're focusing on what you got.
Like Tiger probably hasn't talked to anybody yet this week.
Well, he has. Well, like Tiger, like the story they always tell at the Masters last year, Finau was in that last group with them. He didn't talk to him the entire time, and he said he walked up to him and said, "How are the kids?" Just trying to like break the ice. And Tiger looked at him with like ice in his eyes and was like, "Good," and then didn't say another word to him the rest of the round, and then ripped his fucking heart out, won the green jacket.
I mean, 10 years ago, Tiger would have been banging all these hookers in this. He would have had COVID for a while.
I'm not gonna lie.
my
That's a
favorite
good point. Tiger with the strippers and the Perkins waitresses and everything, he would have been like the first high-profile athlete back in the day. It would have been like Magic. It would have been like Magic with AIDS back in the day. It'd have been like Tiger with the COVID.
Yeah. You've got it 19 times, man. What's going on?
Hey, you
How
got
have
to
you not
hand it
built
to
up
the
an
man.
immunity yet?
You got to hand it to the man because, like, you know, well, a lot of guys, you know, women will say, well, he's a terrible person. If you think about it, you know, most women's husbands are having sex with 100% of the people that'll have sex with them. And Tiger is like maybe 3%. He was in love.
You got to think, honestly. I don't condone cheating on your wife or your significant other ever, but think about all the girls he probably put to a college education back then. when he'd show up to an event and win like 7 out of 10 starts, and 2 of them were majors, and Nike and everybody else is riding his dick sponsoring him, he could literally just be like, "Here's $50K, go to Harvard. I don't give a fuck." I mean, you know, back then.
That's maybe a semester of Harvard.
Well, when he was winning
Hush
was
money
like
was the thing
2004, 2005. So I'm not sure what the
Started
inflation
opening
and
your mouth.
adjustment was. I'm just kind of estimating.
By the way, Taylor Gooch qualified for the PGA, Kevin, so you can still pick Gooch.
Still
I don't
get
believe you.
Okay.
I don't believe you.
I'm
Yeah,
Seems like
Gooch
it's still
and Tiger.
Phil every week. Just because I love Phil.
Well, I'm dropping Brooks Koepka if Gooch got in, though, so you can pick up Koepka.
That is the
only
worst.
left-handed athlete that I love.
That is simply the worst thing in history that you could do.
Yeah, Brooks is favored to win it, and you're gonna drop him for a guy who probably barely made it in.
Well, Tiger's going to win, so I don't
Gooch is
care
gonna
about
win?
the other two.
Right there.
No, Tiger.
Chase.
Jim Furyk just turned 50, and now he won the Champions Tour last week because he's an old fuck.
Yep.
He has better odds to win this week than Taylor Gooch. You're a fucking moron.
So what you're saying is I should put money on Gooch because if he wins, I'm going to make a lot.
He's not
Oh my
gonna
God!
win.
All right,
If you want to
come
throw a
back
dollar,
to
go
the
ahead.
PGA when we get to that segment.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, sorry.
So
I, just
listen.
had to, I was thinking.
Now,
Moving on to the
I will. I am
we
super
have-
excited though.
last thing before we get on to the Browns here, we have 60 players already called on opting out. Tomorrow at 4 is the last day. Who else do you see possibly opting out before then?
Is James
No,
Conner opted
fucking
out yet?
Rivers.
No, and that was one I wanted to bring
James
up.
Conner will be opted out due to medical reasons. You can't risk it.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I think he's gonna. If they give him the option, whether he can stay home or play, I think he's going to play. I really do.
I wouldn't be surprised if he hasn't opted out at this point. I'm kind of he's probably not going to.
I mean,
Somebody's going to get in
Cannon-
his ear and set him straight because I understand why he would want to play because he's coming up on a contract year. But you can take a year and bet on yourself and just, because, you're going to lose a year and you don't have a long shelf life as a running back, but you might not have any life at all when you're a high-risk person.
But what if they play
Hey,
3 games and the whole thing gets
Go
shut
ahead.
down? Then he's fucked either way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I don't know how that plays into his contract. I don't know if they shut the NFL season down, if his contract would carry on.
I feel like that's going to have to be a discussion between the NFL and the NFLPA. If they do cancel the season after 3 games, do they basically let the league year run as it does, or do they freeze it where it is and essentially just start from the beginning again? But I
hope it doesn't come to that because that'll get
Yeah.
ugly. Those arguments will not be good.
Yeah.
Well,
But on the
think-
James Conner front, real quick, I really hope he does opt out. I am with you, but I think he's kind of to the point, especially where we live in Northwest Pennsylvania. He went to UPMC for all his medical treatment. He's very much like a very popular figure and almost an inspirational figure around here,
Right
almost
there.
like Ryan Shazier. Exactly. He went to Pitt. He's a Pittsburgh Steeler. He's done all these amazing things. I feel like he almost wants to go out and set an example, but he really
should.
You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I got
You
the
really
Conner
don't.
jersey on right now.
Yeah.
He has nothing to prove this season.
I mean,
He has nothing to prove.
Nothing
And
but
I'll-
respect to him if he does
Right.
sack up and go out there and do it. But if it's one of those things where it's
You
a
gotta worry
pride
about
thing,
yourself.
Exactly. He don't know anybody anything. That's what
And
I'm
I'll be completely, totally honest too. I'm saying this not only as looking out for his best interest, but also a little bit selfishly because then the Steelers would be able to re-sign him a lot cheaper. And
It depends.
if he doesn't go out and have a
No,
blow up year,
I don't think that would be the case.
No, because it would
I
depend
think-
on the NFLPA. It depends on all that. How they.
Well, that you look at how many people, if you take a James Conner and a guy who's been historically banged up and set him on the shelf for, we haven't done training camp and everything, and then he's coming out of a contract year and say we just give everything a go. Somebody will literally give him more money than
It's angry.
things aren't going well.
Doggy Fight
That's not
Club.
me this time.
Somebody
Yeah.
will give him a lot of money if everything freezes, basically.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I don't think that's the case.
Well,
More
So,
money than the Steelers will give him because the Steelers never have any cap space ever.
Next year.
and the Steelers organization holds this against him for sitting out for his own health reasons, then that doesn't say much for the organization.
That's
either.
true.
Well,
That
I
is
agree.
true.
I
I don't think
agree.
they would do that, but yeah,
They won't.
That
But
is
what I'm
true.
saying is, at this point now, with his body of work that he has had a good 9-game stretch where he wasn't injured, that he performed very well, and that's been it. He hasn't had any really long, great stretches in his career so far. So that's why I'm saying they would be able to sign him for less if he doesn't play this year. If he plays this year and he fucking blows it up and doesn't get hurt, then yeah, they're gonna have to shell out a whole shitload of fucking money.
All
I
I'm
think
saying
his
is
best season was
good.
the season Le'Veon Bell was locked out, and
Yeah,
that was.
buddy, I think he got like 9 games.
Yeah.
Well, and NFL GMs, as we've proven time and time again, are much stupider than all of us. And on that 9-game stretch, somebody will take a flyer on him and give him. Like I said, I'm not saying the Steelers can't get him due to the hometown discount, but I think somebody's going to throw him. Somebody throw him more money than Colbert thinks he's worth, basically.
Yeah. You probably are right there.
And basically above market value is what I'm getting at.
Yeah. I'm not going to disagree with you there. Antonio Brown said something about he might want to sign. He's suspended 8 games. That's all if he ever signs again. And that's all I want to say about him. All right, let's move on to the Browns.
Jace hates him too.
Yeah, that is one thing we can all just stand in solidarity about. Uncle Lonnie hates him because he had to play against him. You all hate him because he was a Steeler fan. He was a Steeler, and I hate him because I'm a Raider fan. So
I
He was a
like
Raider
Antonio
for
Brown.
15 minutes.
I like Antonio Brown. Fuck y'all.
Okay, fuck you, Kevin.
Of course you
Lonnie,
do what?
you're
You
on the
just
podcast,
do.
Kevin, you're out.
Yeah, see you.
you know who nobody likes, Kevin? You or Antonio Brown. So there you go.
Bingo bang.
Let's look at some of the Browns had some pretty good acquisitions in this free
Yes.
agency.
Yes, they have.
And draft.
Let's look at and the draft that too. Let's just look at some of the pickups they had just in the offseason for the Browns. Trying to think of some of the big name guys that they brought in. Let me get to the frigging page.
Jack Conklin.
Yeah,
Tackle,
Jack
Austin
Conklin's
Hooper at tight end.
huge one.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum.
That's huge.
They brought in, who was the defensive end? Robert Quinn, wasn't it?
I think Quinn was there, wasn't he? And then they reached. No. Quinn was with.
I'm normally on Uncle Lonnie's side, but he's the guest. These are all things he should have had pre-prepared. He should have like bullet points and everything.
Well, he's ready. He's ready.
Well, I mean, as far as we've added some good depth, I believe, in many crucial areas, and we're stacked at the tight end position now. I think
it's
we brought
crazy
in
how
somebody
stacked.
that
Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper has good
Njoku.
hands. Well, Njoku is questionable, I would say. He can have a bad case of the stone hands quite often. He can catch the balls that are 10 feet above his head, but can't catch the ones that hit him in the chest. So
he's
he
still
can't
better
block
than
very
Dante
good.
Moncrief.
Stone hands.
How mad are y'all going to stay about that?
We picked up a pretty good one in the draft too, so I feel pretty confident about the tight end position there.
Yeah, you guys really did address that, and I think that's just a big. I think they really went after that to help Mayfield because of his. He needed some help to have some consistency over the middle, and Njoku didn't always give that.
I think a big problem they had last year was Njoku's tendency to have some stone hands every once in a while, and then another big problem for them was the loss of Duke Johnson, that guy coming out of the backfield that could really catch
definitely.
the ball.
But they replaced him with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah.
So
and you didn't see him until the end of the season, though. I think that you had 10 games without Kareem Hunt, so
right.
I mean, I was wrong. It was not Robert Quinn. It's Adrian Claiborne was the guy that they
That's
signed as
it.
the other
That's
defensive
it, yeah.
end. Another big pickup. So I mean, you've got Myles Garrett and Adrian Claiborne coming from the outside. That's
Also,
definitely
you
going to be a
And
good
Olivier
tandem.
Vernon.
signed Myles Garrett to the humongous contract, who's what is a record-setting contract.
It was huge.
Huge.
Yeah,
Another
according
guy.
to that contract, I think they said he could have hit Mason Rudolph in the head 40,000 times.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I did see that.
It was 3,000 times. 3,370.
This team
times
has
with it.
Sheldon Richardson starting at defensive tackle. I feel like that's a name that has been lost, among time, and
How about
because he went from the Jets to the Browns, poor fucker. But I mean,
How about their defensive backfield is fucking insane.
So let's just go through their
Yeah.
draft real quick, just to look at that. So first round, you get Jedrick Wills, who I never thought would have dropped to 10. That was insane. Then you got Grant Delpit. That was the safety. He could really vow for a starting position because you kind of have needed that since Peppers left in the trade. And I was a huge fan of Peppers. You were not a huge fan of Peppers.
No, I wasn't.
I was
No, I
surprised
wasn't.
me because I thought he kind of had the playmaking ability.
He was showing promise right at his end of his career in Cleveland, but I don't know if they just didn't, use him right. He was always out there in no man's land. He would be 20, 30 yards off the ball, and it was insane where they would position him. So
It seemed to me like he was a guy who he could be a playmaker, but then he could also miss plays.
yes,
Like
He took a lot of chances.
He had like the Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, every 1 out of 10 plays.
yeah,
Not every play.
well, he was one of those guys where he loved to stop the run, and he played in the Big 10 or the Big 12, or I forget where the fuck Michigan plays. And that's, you can literally sneak in the box and, still be able to cheat back against a lot of those shitty ass quarterbacks. You get to the big leagues, you can't do that because the wide receivers are faster and the quarterbacks are better. They're going to burn you on it every time. Like Uncle Lonnie said,
Also,
you can get caught 20 yards from the ball and be like, oh shit, there's my guy.
Also,
And,
as
there
far
he
as
He gone.
always off-topic sports, he's not even in the team anymore, so we should probably move on to guys who are.
Well, no, that's what we're
Right,
saying. That's why we didn't. That's why.
Yeah, Grant Delpit was a first-round talent, and
Yeah, he
fell
was.
to the second.
He was one of the
I
LSU
agree.
safeties. Like that secondary was amazing. So that was a huge steal. In the
I will say, just out of experience, real fast, I'm looking at their depth chart. Currently, they have Carl Joseph listed at the strong safety. Now, as somebody, obviously, I have experience with him.
Familiar.
I don't think he'll stay there the entire season. I'm not disparaging
yeah,
him.
they
He's a
have
very
him
good
listed
player.
as a starter right now. Yeah,
Well, he's a good player. He's good against the run, but he gets caught. He's another Peppers where he gets caught out in coverage, and he's very short. So when he gets caught against the tight ends, he gets beat a lot because, I mean, I could show you a million highlights where he's reaching as far as he can, and the guys are jumping over him. He's like 5'8". It's not his fault.
He
Browns
was more
have
of a
Andrew-
box safety,
Yeah.
though.
Well, he was a run stopper, like I said. He's a strong safety, but at the same time, when you're asked to go, like when you have to play Mark Andrews and shit like that, when you go see Lamar Jackson, you got to be able to guard those guys in the red zone, and he just doesn't have the height and
Eric
size.
Ebron.
Andrew Sendejo will probably be your starting strong safety by the end of the season, and him and Delpit actually will be a very, very good. Sendejo's a veteran; he can mentor Delpit,
And he's ball
you've got a
smart.
guy.
Well,
Delpit can do both, where he can run stop and he's still athletic enough he can go back. Sendejo's going to get in the ranks, and he's going to get a couple of those sneaky picks where, picking guys off.
And they already know that their corner situation is great.
He's also a very good special team.
They have a lot
I
of
was
good
so
corners.
pissed off last year when you guys got Greedy. Like I wanted Greedy so bad. Did you put him with Ward, which I thought when you drafted Ward, I think it was 2 years ago. I was like, what are they doing? And then Ward came out and was amazing.
That was
So-
actually the one draft pick I was like, they're actually doing something right there for in a sea of just like, what the fuck is this? Is basically.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
they,
mean,
they,
and
they
then go on.
no, they are definitely in a lot better position this year. In the backfield, I feel much more confident with who they've picked up, free agency wise, and in the draft, and what they already have for talent there on the team.
Yeah, they really added good depth in the later rounds.
Right.
Added potential starters in the first 2, maybe 3 rounds. So, and I didn't really see too much. You lost one linebacker that was like, I believe that was really the big loss for you guys. And I can't think of what his name was.
Joe Schobert.
Yeah, Joe Schobert.
And he
But
it was.
we also have, I believe we have somebody just as talented to take his place with Mac
Wilson.
Yeah.
I was actually really excited about the Mac Wilson pickup for you guys because I wanted Mac Wilson, but we traded up and got Devin Bush. I mean,
we have red wine.
I'm happy with that.
I mean, we have some good depth now in the linebacker position. That
Are you guys running predominantly a 4-3 or are you a 3-4? You're a 4-3 now.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought because you have a lot
we
of
have
good
been,
D-line depth.
I don't know what the new coaching staff is planning on bringing in, but I imagine we will be staying with the 4-3 just from what we have, even what we have drafted, and even a couple of free agent pickups that we've got. I believe we'll be staying with the 4-3.
Well, it makes more sense with what you guys talent-wise you have.
Right.
With Garrett,
Sheldon
with
Richardson in the middle.
with
Obi
Claiborne. Yeah, exactly. With the guys you have up front, it makes way more sense to have it that way. I'm just going to go to the roster here while we're talking and just kind of get a breakdown.
Well, while you're doing that, I think they made a lot of great pickups. I will say, like when last year I thought they were going to start out slow, but I thought they'd pick it up towards the end of the year. I thought it was going to be like a 10-6 season, and they started out slow and then never really did pick it up.
They had a little bit of a mid-season spurt there.
Yeah,
they played.
And then fell back off for whatever. Like they got Kareem Hunt in, and it seemed like they actually were worse after they got Kareem Hunt. Their offense played better, but their defense was worse without Myles Garrett.
Oh yeah.
So
well, you can't take a hit like that. And
yeah,
not.
I mean, yeah, we've seen, as Steelers fans ourselves, we've seen how that works. When Ryan Shazier went down, the Steelers defense was immediately worse.
Right.
Immediately.
When you lose a guy like a Myles Garrett or a Shazier or whoever, you're gonna feel that.
You have built that whole team, that defense, kind of around a guy like that.
Yeah.
And when you don't have anybody to step in that's even remotely close in the depth chart,
that affects the whole. It's a snowball effect. You're not getting as good of a pass rush, so that leaves more time for the opposing team's receivers to get open against your good secondary. So it exposes the secondary. It affects your running game, which also then affects play action ability for the opposing team and screws with your secondary. So I mean that affected them a lot too. But I think this year, I think it's going to be much of what I thought last year. I think they're going to start slow because of how many new pieces they have. Again, they're back to having a bunch of new pieces and a bunch of good rookies who aren't getting the same camp they would have gotten in other seasons. So I think a lot of other teams they got a lot of guys that I think they're going to want contributions from this season, whereas a lot of other teams, their rookies are coming in as like a solidifying piece.
Right.
So they'll be a little bit more. I think they'll be a little bit more with it out of the gate. So I think probably about 10-6 again, but a slow start again.
I'm hoping for a little bit better than that, but with the new
10-6 is playoffs.
yeah, but I don't know. I'm a little bit optimistic though. I'm hoping with the new coaching staff. I be honest with you, I was all in with Kitchen last year. I
Yeah.
was, and I seen what he did with the offense the year before, and it was like he must have just destroyed that playbook after the season, and and because he didn't, the offense did not play a quarter of the way as good as what they did the year before.
No.
Oh, I think it was a
I think
combination factor.
OBJ had a little bit of growing pains with that offense, though, too. And there was talks about him being injured, and
Yeah, he did not practice during the week during the season. He
And
would
Baker had his
maybe,
sophomore slump.
yeah. So I believe that. I mean, I haven't given up on Mayfield. You seen what he was capable of in his rookie season.
I think that would be your biggest mistake is giving up on him because that's what
Well, their
Browns
offensive
do.
line was terrible.
Oh
Their
yeah,
offensive line was bad because that's what,
Awful.
like I
Awful.
said, I think it was Ross Tucker on one of the talk shows was talking about the fact that you know when you're talking about an offensive line, you can have a bad offensive line with three good offensive linemen, or a good
right.
offensive line with three good offensive linemen, but you can't have two good offensive linemen and that be it. You're
Yeah.
not going to be able to
And
do
they were
anything then.
so undisciplined.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
were.
I
There was
think
so many penalties.
The fall starts and the
Right.
all that shit.
And
You
letting Baker get his ass kicked and run for his life.
right.
yeah,
Well,
they
like Kevin
basically,
said,
like I
it's
said last week, they made Baker Mayfield a less successful Jameis Winston. He threw 20 for 20 with less yards.
well,
So
statistically, you see a sophomore slump in quarterbacks,
Yeah.
and necessarily, Baker did do that, but at the same time, as we're talking about it, his offensive line did him no fucking favors in trying to basically help him progress in any sense in that offense whatsoever.
But I think it was like a combo platter of things. You had the bad offensive line. You had Freddie Kitchens not kind of doing what he did the year before with the offense. Then also John Dorsey making some bad moves like the Duke Johnson move that
yeah,
hurt him
that
early in
was
the season.
that was definitely
He
a
was
knife
one
to
of
the
the
heart.
longest like tenured like he was the guy you thought of in the running back room. He wasn't always the
Yeah,
starter, but he was
Duke
like your
Johnson
Darren
was the guy that
Sproles.
he was brought in with a whole bunch of fanfare, and Isaiah Crowell turned out to be a better every down back, so he kind of got shifted down a little bit. But he had started to really come into his own as far as being that shifty kind of runner. He
I always
almost
liked
was
Duke
like
Johnson.
almost like a Le'Veon Bell type
Yeah, he
style
could catch the
to his
ball out of the
running,
backfield. He
and then he
did.
Yeah, that
could
was
catch
huge.
really well. So I think I thought that was he fit that team perfectly, and they let him go. I think that was a big problem. And then, like I said, just a combination of those things in the early part of the season. Then you have the injuries. I mean, Odell playing hurt all year through injuries. You had the Myles Garrett situation just towards the end of the season. I think that all just really came into effect.
So, Lonnie, what do you think is going to be the main factor for success in this team? Is it discipline? Is it Baker's play? Is it the improve on the offensive line? Is it the play calling? What is the number one key thing that you think is going to drive this season to be more positive in
It's
your mind?
definitely going to have to be. They're going to have to be more disciplined. You can't start out at at second and 20 because you had a false start. You can't you can't be called off sides on defense all the time and
Dumb pass
and give
interference.
up
On
when
a
you have
third
them
and
pinned
six and
back.
give them 3rd and 1.
Right. Yeah, you can't be doing that, and that was just you just want to throw something at them when it's just it's. I mean,
And
these
those
guys
are
are supposed to be
correctable.
professionals, and to be that, I think they were the most penalized. One of the stats I didn't want to look up because it just makes me sick was just how terrible they were in the penalties last year.
Yeah.
I forget what game it was, but there was a game where they had more penalty yards in the first half than they had yards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I mean,
think
you
that's
can't win
number
games
one
like
is the
that.
discipline, because the way that team was ran last year, it was kind of like, it was almost as if you let, and I'm not comparing them to toddlers, but it's almost you just let a bunch of toddlers free and let
Right.
them do whatever
No,
they
it
wanted
was.
to do. And
There was-
chaos ensued.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of structure. I mean, Greg Williams, I mean,
Yeah, at least he kept
Bounty,
structure.
you know, he kept some structure. He was a guy, he's from the old school. And it just seemed like that, like, he wanted, what's his name? Kitchens. Wanted to be everybody's buddy. Had to put on
Right.
that shirt, you know, that about the, what was it, Myles Garrett thing? What did he wear the shirt for?
Rudolph started it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, stuff like that, just that's not what you need to see out of your head coach.
Oh, right.
Now, looking forward to this year, though, like I said in a couple of our different podcasts, too, though, I still am not sure about the guy that they hired as head coach, because he is the coach who, as an offensive coordinator last year, was only able to put up 2 yards in a quarter and a half of football in a
Cousins
playoff
throwing the ball
football
20
game.
yards over fucking
Now, what you just said there, in a playoff football team. A playoff football team, Kevin. Yeah, he took his team to the playoffs.
Well, he was the offensive
No.
coordinator.
He took his team to the playoffs.
He has a valid
Kirk
point.
Cousins.
You know, he was still there.
He was at the dance.
He was at the dance. and
Well,
he knocked off the New Orleans Saints.
Well,
nothing.
Wow.
No.
I'm not gonna lie, Lonnie has you here, buddy.
Their safety.
Uncle Lonnie just owned your ass a little
The
bit.
New Orleans Saints safety knocked off the New Orleans Saints. Let's be honest here. If it wasn't for a safety putting his head down 25 yards away from the receiver before he got there, they would have never made it past him. Drew Brees won that game, and their defense handed it over.
I went down kind of a rabbit hole just real quick. Fun fact. Did you know that Freddie Kitchens was actually a quarterback for Alabama?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
He's 10th all time on the school's passing yards record.
So he threw for 1,000 yards a season then? Because
that's
about all they throw
John
in
Parker
Alabama.
Wilson was on that team.
Well, yeah, when you figured 4 seasons, he had 4,668 yards. So yeah, basically 1,000 yards.
That's what I said. It's Alabama. They run the football and play defense.
I'll give anybody $20 if you, out of all of you right now. I know I do this shit all the time. If you can guess Alabama's all-time passing yards leader, I'll
John
give you
Parker Wilson.
$10. No, not him. He's second.
Fuck.
Ooh.
Aaron Murray?
Alabama.
Wait, modern age?
Aaron Murray went to Georgia, you dipshit.
Wait, who was the guy then? Oh, who was the guy? He had the really hot woman.
Talking like AJ? AJ wasn't in Alabama either.
AJ McCarron.
Tell me what college player doesn't have a hot woman.
AJ, I'm not giving you.
This one had one
That's not gonna help narrow it down, Kevin.
Because you're stupid and you didn't know him. AJ McCarron did go to Alabama, and
Yes.
he is
number
literally
one.
he's in the lead by 1,100 yards. So
AJ McCarron.
Wow.
I
over.
got that.
I was like, wait a minute.
Over-
AJ
No,
McCarron.
you
didn't. AJ McCarron is 1,100 yards over John Parker Wilson. Okay.
I thought, did I get that?
You said John
No.
Parker. I said AJ.
I said AJ McCarron though.
I'm not going to take that.
You literally
I'm not gonna take
fucking
your
said
20
John
because I was
Parker
like-
Wilson, Andy.
Yeah, you fucking did.
That was
Don't
my
even
first
start that, Andy.
Well, I'm not giving you that because Kevin goes, the one with the hot wife. You never watched him play a
And that's why I went, oh, yeah, AJ McCarron.
Yeah, you had no clue about him. You're just like, oh, his wife's
Matthew
fuckable.
Stafford?
I'm like, oh.
Kelly Stafford.
Kelly Stafford's tits?
There it is. There's the reference.
Gotta get it going.
Hey, I'm
Sorry
not
to
sure
bring
if you
you
guys
into
have
Kelly Stafford's
ever
tits,
checked out
but-
Emily Mayfield, though. You might just
Yeah, we've seen the commercials.
Does she shotgun beers? Because that's hot.
That'd be Kyle Larson's wife.
I can
Yeah.
chug beer
I
faster
just did.
than Baker Mayfield.
So
Yeah, she shotgun
before
I'm
we
laying out the gauntlet right now.
before we move on from the Browns, what do you ping their record at, and where do you ping their standing in the AFC North? Where's their ceiling and where's their basement?
I will warn you, if you get too crazy, I will bring out the
No,
button.
no,
I don't want to do it to you, but
He has it. He has it on standby.
like I'll keep it right here.
I'm thinking, to be honest with you, I'm going to be realistic. I think the bottom could be 7-9. And,
Here's the big one.
11-5.
That's what I was going to say too.
Oh.
That's what I was going to say too. Yep.
That was very respectful.
I'm 1 win less on the top end. I say 10-6, bottom 7-9.
Yep.
I said,
and I think they'll be
11-5.
third in the division. I think it's going to be a top-heavy division this year. I think Cincy's going to be way at the bottom, going for the first pick again. So I'm thinking like 12-3, 11-5, 10-6.
I think
guys hear
Ravens are going to be the 13-3, 14-2 again. It's going to be the Steelers and the Browns, same record.
Oh, here
I
we
honestly
go.
think it's going to be. I think it's going to be like a 10-6 for both teams, and
Well,
I think it's going to come down to tiebreakers. I
Did you
really
guys hear
do.
that?
No.
My father
Hear what?
decided at 8:30 at night he's just gonna break out the fucking backhoe.
Oh, is that what that weird noise?
Yeah, it was
in
just
the
like-
background. Okay.
That's it.
I
That's
don't
a glow
hear
plug
anything.
sitting before it fires.
I just don't, honestly, you're basing the Steelers' record on Ben coming back. A guy that has not played in almost 2 years. You can honestly say he has not played in 2 years. He's what, 39, 38 years old? He's got a glass jaw now. I mean, come on. You're basing it on. I can see you guys 20
He's
years
got
from now.
he's got a glass.
I know,
He's got a
Ben's
glass
gonna come out of
walking boot.
retirement, and he's going to lead us to the AFC Championship game this year. I can see it. You know, he'll be 80 years old, and you guys are going to be like, "No, I heard Ben might make a comeback." You know,
Ben Roethlisberger is
remember the
currently
good
38
days.
years old.
Well, not to contradict you here, Uncle Lonnie, but Ben Roethlisberger, yeah, he is 38 years old. He didn't play last year, but the year before, not only did he play, he threw for 5,000 yards and 34 touchdowns. And with a
also, who did he have
96.5
as a
QBR.
receiver? Who did he have as a receiver then that he doesn't have now?
Juju Smith-Schuster had the highest stats for a receiver on the team, and he's still
His
there.
AB was double
Well, and then that did
and the
really
reason
great.
why is because they were double covered.
Exactly. He doesn't have AB
I'll
across
say
from him.
it.
Of course,
Yeah,
Juju had
Why
great
Why
numbers.
didn't he have them kind of stats this past season?
I'll give
Because
you
there's no
one.
He played
press of the
one
button.
game. He played
Yeah,
one
world
game.
champion duck caller thrown
What?
to him.
Juju only played one game this season.
Juju,
Oh, no,
I think
Juju,
played like
Juju only played
eight
like
or nine.
5.
He played.
Yeah.
I think he played 8.
Juju was injured for most of the
Yeah, he
season.
was.
Well, lucky for him, he didn't have to put up with that.
And on top of that, they had Mason Rudolph and Duck thrown to him. So, and
Oh
Duck
yeah,
was
where's your
an
duck?
accurate description.
Where's
of
your
I
the
was
duck?
gonna
ball.
say,
I haven't
don't you dare say duck with such, hate in your voice.
I
You
hope.
guys,
There he
was
is, the rubber
great
ducky
white
with the
hope.
gold jacket.
He was the
I hope.
fucking
I
great
still-
white hope
I
for
still
you guys.
believe in
He was
Duck.
gonna bring it all back.
I hope
still
that
believe
it's-
in Duck.
Paxton Lynch and Ducky are the backups, and Mason Rudolph gets cut. That's what I'm
He's
hoping
not
this
gonna
year.
get fucking cut.
I know he's
still
not.
on a decent fucking deal.
And you
I
didn't
know.
even address this year in the draft. You didn't even address the fact that Ben is.
They didn't have an option to. I don't
We
think
didn't trade
with
away
where
the
they were
first
at.
round. We traded
Ben's
away
gonna
our
retire.
first round.
I'm gonna tell you what's
we
gonna
didn't have a
happen right
first
now.
round pick, and I
Well,
don't think
Ben's
it's
okay.
gonna
really
retire
worth
in
it.
2 years, and
sitting
we're
there.
signing Matthew Stafford on his way out of Detroit.
Oh, please don't put that hate on me, Ricky
I
Bobby.
love Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford.
I love Matthew Stafford too, but he can't
So
stay healthy for more than 30
A
minutes.
less
so.
mobile Brent Roethlisberger who gets hurt just as much. Sign him.
Doesn't have
Fucking
a.
I mean, Lonnie can't say too much bad about Matthew Stafford because he beat his team with a freaking dislocated shoulder. So
And the last time the Browns made a run, I'm pretty sure Jeff Garcia was their quarterback, and he had fucking grandkids.
I believe it.
actually, no. The
Holcomb.
last really good season
Talking
for the
about
Browns
old.
was
Derek Anderson.
Anderson.
Derek
It
Anderson.
was Derek
I
Anderson.
I
yes.
can't tell you. Just And it wasn't even like I'm a huge Browns fan. Just seeing them just get shit on year in and year out. The Derek Anderson year, like, I can't tell you how excited I was. I wanted the Browns to make the playoffs so bad. If sports betting would have existed back then, I wasn't old enough, but I would have looked at my father and went,
Bet the house.
Well, we lived in a single wide at the time, so I'd have been like, bet $1,500 on the Browns to win the Super Bowl, okay?
But I'll tell you too, as I've gotten a little bit older, I don't have the hate for a lot of teams that I used to have. I don't hate the Browns. It's a combination of I don't hate the Browns because I've grown, and also because I kind of feel bad. Like, I really wanted them to be able to unlock those Bud Light coolers.
I did like the Ravens.
And like the Ravens and Steelers have gotten to a point where, like, with Terrell Suggs and Ben Roethlisberger, there's so much respect between the two of those guys that I kind of even respect the Ravens, even though I
still hate the Ravens.
Hate the Ravens. But it's hateful respect for the
That's
Ravens.
I have more
And the
respect for
Browns-
them than hate, but yeah.
The Browns are like the little brother that I want to see do good.
I will sit here and say at the same time, I fucking hate Patrick Mahomes' guts, and by God, if he were to contract diphtheria or cholera tomorrow, like we mentioned earlier in the show, I wouldn't be mad, but
Give him a COVID kitty.
Well,
I would send, if you could send somebody like they sent people anthrax in the 90s.
Oh my God, no, you can't make terroristic threats on the show.
Well, no, I'm not saying I'm sending Patrick Mahomes anthrax. You just remember that scare when people were literally getting that shit in the
Anthrax
fucking...
had some very good albums.
Well, no,
I don't want to kill him.
Sure.
I don't want to kill him. I just want
said-
to scare the fuck out.
Let me finish my fucking sentence.
If you ever watched the movie Celtic
would
Pride,
say-
I'd like to kidnap Patrick Mahomes and store him in my basement for the sole reason.
I was going to come around. I said somebody should literally talk Patrick Mahomes into adopting a shelter cat and have it be a COVID.
The COVID kitty.
Exactly.
Well, see, that's the thing. Everybody says,
You're making
again,
me out to be
everybody
something
says
way more
that he-
darker, and I'm going to murder the guy and go full on Kathy Bates and whatever that movie
Everybody
was where
says
she
he's such
breaks
a
that
good
guy's
guy.
ankles. No, I'm just
The
like,
Unabomber.
everybody says he's such a good guy. And again, I'll just repeat. He puts ketchup on his steak, and that
He
ketchup
does.
is Hunt's. He is the worst kind of human being in the world.
I forgot about that. I can't
He's a
say anything
piece of
about
shit.
nice
Fuck
about
him.
him because he uses Hunt's ketchup. So fuck
Yep.
him. I don't care.
How dare you? How dare you?
That is a
It's not.
slap.
I.
Hey,
It's almost as
I've
bad
got
as using
3
fancy
minutes.
ketchup.
I've got
All right,
3
well,
minutes.
we do have to bring it down. If you have to leave, Kevin, go ahead, and we'll just kind of close things out.
Real quick,
If you want to mention
I'll
what
say
you're
some
doing,
things
go
real
for
quick. First off, I'm leaving a little bit early tonight. I have a league race here. We're going against a bunch of other leagues tonight. It's a big deal on that for the NASCAR Heat 5 deal.
Go check out the Twitch stream. Kevin will be the one in the wall.
No, I'm there because I'm a consistent guy who stays there till the end. But
No,
unlike real life.
then we'll be racing Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and with 3 Wide Racing as well. And then starting Monday, our good buddy Smith XNC is going to be relaunching the Facebook stream. RSR is off this week.
Him on next week.
He is
right?
our guest next week.
I got to
isn't he?
contact. I got to get with him about that as far as what we're going to do, time wise and everything.
Yeah.
So we can figure out with his streaming and everything.
Yeah. Whatever
But,
we need
yeah,
to do,
so
we'll have
Kevin,
him on.
If you're actually racing tonight, send me a fucking link because I want to see you get your ass kicked. I'll make you so happy.
I'll just put out because there's somebody who's streaming it. I don't know. I'm going to be finishing towards
Send
the back,
it.
but
Send it to
You know,
the group.
just text us. Just put it. Put it in the group. I wanna
Yeah.
see
We're
you
gonna
get
stay
your
in the
ass kicked.
Skype chat and talk shit on you and record
I'm
it.
going to
dude,
pull
I'm
it up
using-
on my TV and watch it.
I'm using a controller. These guys are all on steering wheels and pedals.
Oh yeah, you're fucked.
They kick my I had
But
a
still,
shot
it's
at
gonna
Eldora
make
2
fun
weeks
of you.
ago.
We still like
I had
to
a
talk
shot
shit.
at Eldora 2 weeks ago until 2 guys who hadn't practiced with us all week showed up and were like a half a second faster than all of us.
There you go.
But yeah, so I've got
Check the
to go
restrictions
join
page.
up with these guys, and I'll send
All
you
right.
guys whoever's doing that. But
Hey.
thanks for being here, Uncle Lonnie.
Rage on,
It was
Kevin.
great
Yeah.
to spar with you a little bit during the podcast instead of after the podcast like
yeah,
we
right.
normally do.
Instead of in
Well,
the chat
I've
room
always
after.
wanted to tell you how wrong you are on everything. Like
I'm the smartest man alive. I'm the smartest man alive.
I
You've been
completely
replaced,
disagree.
Kevin.
Hey, okay, you can
Smartest
leave now.
man alive. Smartest man
Can
alive.
you?
still
Is this
can't
like an
beat
Xbox
Gardner.
party? Can you kick him?
Kick him, kick him out.
Hey, Kevin, what's Italy shaped like?
Bye, Kevin.
All right, now that we got rid of Kevin,
Thank
no,
God.
I'm excited for you guys this season. I think honestly, this is probably going to be one of the better seasons we've seen. Like I mentioned at the beginning, there wasn't a huge ego hype
Right.
for the team, and I think that goes down to like you were saying with the discipline. I think they're finally getting under. They got kind of ahead of themselves.
They've got the
Yeah,
egos.
they did.
They've got the egos leveled out, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
Like the OBJ head whenever he got there, and Baker, he's just a fucking.
Everybody puts a lot of blame on the OBJ, but he was probably he didn't run his mouth last year.
If anybody did, it was Baker.
He wasn't plagued to run his mouth.
Yeah, it was fans running their mouth about him, and there was the whole season there was rumors that he wanted out and he wanted, and
yeah,
it just wasn't true.
He constantly was like, "No, I don't. I'm good. Thanks."
Right.
Thanks for telling me what I want.
Right. Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, he's playing with his best friend in the world, with Landry's. I mean, he has the ideal situation going on there.
Yeah.
And I mean, and he's not going to be greedy wanting the ball when it's his best friend. He's not going to be getting mad because, well, I don't get, I'm not getting the ball thrown to me 20 times a game. No, because it's your best friend on the other side. So he's not going to have that ego and be getting upset. But hey, this is for the team.
One guy might have a good game, the other guy might have a bad game, and
right?
then vice versa.
And I will just say,
forcing him the ball every fucking play.
Right.
Right.
They're going to rely heavy on that run game because you finally have Hunt in that backfield and Nick Chubb.
He's a beast.
If I had to sit here, if I had to pick a fantasy breakout player this year, Nick Chubb is going to literally fuck this league.
Your line is so much better this year with Wills and Conklin. You could have Chris Hubbard move into a guard. I think what you have Treader, I think is who your center
he's a
was.
center.
And Chubb was still like the fourth best running back in the league
you guys
last
had
year.
a horrible line last
behind nobody. And with Baker throwing the ball like shit, he is going to go the fuck off. And the best thing is you're literally gonna hand him the ball 3-4 times. You're gonna get a couple first downs in like a 2nd and 5, and then like you said earlier, you're gonna take Kareem Hunt and throw a wheel route or a screen or something, and then gain 35 yards, and then you can kick a field goal. That's
well,
you don't even have to include Hooper or Beckham or anybody. You're 2 running backs in your offensive line. You have a game plan.
He looking here. He had 11 carries for over 20 yards. He had what was it? He had like 5 or 6 over 40.
Yeah.
I will give a disclaimer because I had him in fantasy. I think 3 of those were against the Patriots, and he fumbled every single fucking time.
Oh yeah, I remember that fucking game too.
Because I traded for him in that week, and every time it's like, oh, Nick Chubb's 70-yard run fumbled on the 20, and the Patriots recovered, and I got like -3 points. It was like,
like I've always said, they only have to get me 3 and 30 yards every time. That's all I want. And he's averaging over he averaged 5 yards a carry last season. With an offensive line that was horrible. But you can't get yourself, again, you can't have a false start and put yourself in a situation where you're, 1st and 15 or, and it's just right there that there's a run game out of the equation.
At that point, you can't run. If you did that on a 3rd down, you're instantly going to 4 wide. You know, that type of thing
Right.
can kill drives real quick.
Right.
Yep. And I think you've improved your defense to a point where the little things that were lacking are now a strength. I feel like if things finally get put together, if the coaching staff can finally put things together there, you could see this full potential get unlocked in this team. And that is all it is. You have all this talent. How are you going to unlock it?
And
Like, that's
who's
all
to
it needs
say
to happen.
they're even done?
Yeah.
They have so much salary cap space. It's ridiculous.
I don't even know how they're doing it. Like, I don't know
Well,
how the
they got
Steelers
so
have
many
so
people on
little.
rookie. You know,
Oh, that's
you have
it.
so many
Yeah.
people. You know, and but they've got such a good core of young players. It's just getting them all to
Essential.
play together.
Yeah. Yep. That's it. Well, Jace, do you have anything else to add about your PGA? I know you guys kind of went off on it a little bit, but
Yeah, I mean, I am gonna go off a little bit.
Do
I'll
it.
try to keep it short, but I am super excited, and I know nobody else literally gives a fuck about golf. But you have to think like in the spring.
I do know.
Well, now you do, but
Yeah.
you have to think of the spring with COVID. We lost the Masters. We lost the original U.S. Open. They're not even playing an Open Championship in Great Britain this year. They've completely canceled it. So we have the Masters in November, which actually something else I'm super excited about. We'll have a Masters on a football Sunday at the same time going on. And we will also, the second week of football, as long as it's still going on, the U.S. Open will be happening at Winged Foot. So second week of football, you're going to have a lot of sports and a lot of things going on all at once. And it sounds stupid, but actually, funny story. Carly tagged me in something on Facebook earlier. It was
Yeah,
like,
she did.
Did you see that?
Yes,
yeah,
I
it was
did.
like, thank God sports are. It was an Onion article. It was like, thank God sports are back. It says gambling addict who's ready to lose $2,000 on parlays. That's me. I'm ready. I'm ready to be hurt. I'm ready to have to work the overtime to fucking make up for everything I lose. But by God,
I'm ready.
throw
I'm
an
ready
egg.
to drop a $5 bet on a 7-game parlay that'll pay out $10,000. That'll
You're
never
fucking right. I am.
Hell yeah.
Overs, unders. I'll take player point totals. I don't give a shit. I'll take total touchdowns. I'll
He's
throw them
betting-
all out there.
He's betting on best players from each country. Like he's everything.
Well, we'll get there. Let me get there. And long story short, I'm super excited. We finally get a golf major. Everybody's healthy. Tiger's back. Brooksy fucked me last week. Brooksy, I bet on him on Sunday because you were still able to get about 20-1 odds on him before he teed off, or right after he teed off when people started surging. And I had him for about $300 until he shanked one into the water on 18 and completely screwed the pooch and just fucking gave it up.
And I just want you to know that we were me and Jace were talking whenever that happened, and he was just like, "No," and I'm like, "Dude, it might have stayed out. It might have popped back out." But
well, they did
was no
show
hope.
the broadcast as soon as he hit it.
He looked down.
It was a 400-yard par 4. Koepka is a guy who hits it about 320. He should have pulled driver. It was it's the final round. Fuck it. If he pulls driver and hits it in the fucking water, I don't care. He hit 3-wood, tried to lay back, and still shanked it so fucking hard he found all the water on the left. When his main miss with his driver all week was he was skying it and hitting it right, which he's still safe and he's not into anything. Just like,
Look how
fucking
heated Jace gets right now. I love it.
what? I'm so mad. Like, why do you literally, and I mean, I get it as a golfer. Like, you sit there and you go, well, I haven't done this all week and it'll never happen. And then you fucking hit your shot and you're like, oh God, there it goes. There's the one thing you didn't want to happen.
About it, yeah.
I mean, Jesse, you get it once a week now.
Yeah.
That's essentially what happens. But yeah, I don't understand his thought process on pulling 3-wood on the last hole when you have to make essentially par or birdie to go to a playoff. Was it he had to birdie, didn't he, Andy?
He did.
Yeah, so he played a shorter club and still fucked it up.
Yeah, because remember I was saying you said they weren't even going to show his third shot because I was hoping he would drop it. I was like, if he puts this close, like everybody's going to go fucking nuts.
They're doing the social distancing. Him and Phil did like the Air 5 coming off the green. Like they showed him walking to the scorer's tent. I didn't think they were going to show Koepka's shot. And then you look, fucking Ben On and Brendan Todd were still out, and they were like 6 shots back, even though they were the leaders before going out. They got stoned. They got fucked. And then they're like, oh, just out of common courtesy, we're going to show these bums finish up their last hole. They literally showed these guys, and they're just like limping in, like with broken legs, basically. Like, just get me home. It's over. But no, long story short, going on to the PGA, I don't mean to gush about golf, but we finally have a major. I've been deprived. I'm super excited. It's going to play a lot. I mentioned we don't have a British Open or what they call the Open Championship now.
Yep.
This time of year in San Francisco, which are playing in Harding Park, they're on the south side of San Francisco, right on the ocean, basically. They're going to have a lot of fog. The air is very dense.
It's cold.
It's cold, it's damp, it's windy, and the other thing is it's obviously California, you have dry summers. So basically it's perfect timing leading up into this. The greens and the fairways are spots where they're fast, where they're baked out, where they're going to run like hell, and they've let the rough grow up to about ankle depth. So these guys are going to, you hit the fairway or you're going to struggle. It's going to be, you're going to get guys, you're going to get lucky out of the rough. There's going to be some flyers that go where they want them to go, but PGA champion, like, I don't see the winner being more than, there's not going to be a double-digit winner. Like, it's going to be 9 or 8 under par.
Yep. That's exactly
it's not going to be U.S. Open, punish you. Literally, you're going to get a triple if you miss the fairway. But it's going to be, you've got a chance with the way the course sets up and everything going on, you've got a chance to put up a big number. That being said, I'll try to wrap it up. I've talked too much about golf. Nobody cares. My big bets for the week, well, yeah, other than Andy, nobody else cares. My bets for the week, even though he hasn't played very well, I think Xander Schauffele fits up very well for this course. I think he's going to have a very good week. The big thing, everybody's been like, with every sport, everybody's like, oh, layoffs, and has this guy played in this and that? And you found out in every sport, it really doesn't fucking matter that much. It really just matters who was prepared and who showed up. I'm going to take Adam Scott as well. He's only played, I think, 1 tournament before this. I think this may be his first one. But the way the course sets up and the way, like I said, it's going to be windy, it's going to be breezy, it's going to be very much a European or Australian tour. There's no Australian tour, but kind of just European guy where it's kind of shitty and rainy out and you got to flight the ball low, keep it out of the trees, keep it out of the wind, and play the safe shots. Play the safe ones. So you've got, like I said, I've got Schauffele, I've got Scott, and then my last one, who nobody's really paying attention to, a guy who has won an Open Championship, is Henrik Stenson. Yeah, I think I bet him at about, I'll go look on FanDuel real fast if it'll let me log in, but I was seeing him at over 100-1 odds.
Oh, yeah. He's low.
And, well, he won it, the Hero Challenge in Bermuda, which is Tiger's thing, which was actually a pretty tough course. It wasn't too tough, but I think he was like 12 under par to win. And this is going to be another course where, you know, pull 3-wood, hit it straight off the tee, hit a good long iron, and make par putts, and just sneak in on the par 3s and get your advantages where you can. Yep. Henrik Stenson's my last pick, but he is the one I am most confident that can win this entire fucking thing.
And that's what I told you whenever me and you were talking earlier. That's actually a really good. I didn't even know he was playing.
Well, because like I said, all the layoffs and all the COVID and everything, everybody was all high on Tiger because he played in that thing with Phil and Brady and all that.
Yep.
He's like, oh, he's been playing this and that. That's totally different than playing competitive rounds with people. And there were guys who were going out and betting money with their buddies at their home courses and shit. And that's way more competitive than, not to be a dick or anything, but a charity round on TNT for 50 million people or whatever it was to fucking see. So I think Tiger is not a bad bet, but I just think there's different guys. Let me look real quick, real fast. Yeah, Henrik Stenson, you can currently get at 90-1 odds, so he's almost 100. So Just for funsies, go throw $10 on Henrik Stenson. If he wins the thing, you win $900.
There you
That's
go,
beautiful.
Jesse. Winner
Insane.
pick.
That's what I'm probably going to do right there.
Jesse, I know you don't bet on golf a lot. Just do the tiniest bit of research. Look at a couple Euro guys and just do a couple little things. I think Rory might do okay. He's just he's Rory. You never know about Sunday.
I bet money on him to miss the cut. Actually,
he's another one of he's another Bryson. He's another one of those guys where he's an elite level player where he could rip this course apart and win by 5, or you're going to watch him on Friday. He's going to be arguing about rulings and he's going to be 6 over and wear even fucking clothes. But yeah,
I hope that happens.
I'll give everybody my deep bet before I go. My big bet, I'm going to throw $50 on Kevin Kisner at literally 200 to 1 to win this fucking thing, because he hits the ball about 290. He hits every fairway, and he can hit a long iron, and he can putt.
I put a 20 on it, brother.
And if you're not Brooks, if you're not JT, if you're not the big guys who can hit the ball a mile, you need to just be able to put it in the fairway in the short stuff, trust your 4-iron, your 5-iron, and then be able to make some 20, 25-foot putts. And if you were to type that into a statistical generator or anything like that for golf, it would literally go Kevin Kisner.
And Jace, we're making a pact right now. If we hit on this Kisner bet, we are going for a steak dinner.
You laugh at me, a $50 bet on Kisner wins $10,000, and I am not even joking you. I'm thinking about it. If he just has one of his weeks where he does not miss the fairway and he makes all of his putts, which he's an East Coast guy, he loves bent grass. It sounds stupid, but they plant different grass seeds on these courses, and some of these guys where they grew up, depending on the climate, some guys putt better on it. And Kevin Kisner loves bent grass, and it fits out perfectly. I would love to win 10 grand on Sunday. It would literally I would love nothing more, really. Yeah, long story short, it's going to be really interesting because you're going to see a lot of guys really struggle. Like, the rough's going to penalize people. It's going to be windy. This course is going to beat some people up, but it's going to be very interesting. And like I said, you got my 3 guys. Jesse, have you even thought about who you're betting on?
No, I have not. I'm probably going to have to text you these because I haven't even looked at it.
Well, I'm glad that you're actually going to text me about it, because that means you're actually going to put some thought into it.
Yeah, so, I'm going to go look and do some research tonight, and I'll probably text you. When's it starts tomorrow, I assume, right?
Well, but the good thing is even with your desk job, you can go. It's in San Fran, so it's on the West Coast. So I think the lock time for DraftKings, and if you're going to do like a DraftKings team, or if you're going to just bet outright, if they tee off at 7, there's a 4-hour time difference between us and the West Coast, right?
3.
Yeah, 3 or 4. So you have till about lunch or 11 o'clock to lock everything in, so you can really think about it.
So I'll do some research tonight then. I don't have I know that tomorrow I have like 2 deals early and then nothing until like noon. So
we have a match to win is what we have.
That's right.
I do too.
And just a quick another side note, me and Jace won our first round in the B main. I'll call it the B bracket. And I shot only 2 strokes over Jace. And
Jesse did play great.
I had one of the better games I've ever had. I was about 3 putts that I just narrowly missed from beating Jace. And some of those were some pretty impressive putts, if I may say so.
Well, and
I finally parred that par 5.
Number 5.
Number 5. Yeah, finally parred it. And I normally double bogey that hole.
Well, I've been telling you, the difference is you stopped gassing putts. You either leave putts 10 feet short or you leave them 10 feet long, and you left your putts like with 2-footers, or you were like right next to the hole and they were gimmies.
Yeah,
that's the difference. That's all you needed right there. You're not
And
hitting the ball bad. You're not driving the ball bad, but you get around the greens and you pull a full Bryce and you're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. What's going on?
That was it. I drove a lot better, and I think I'm going to drive even better this week. I really do. And I feel really good.
In the B,
I'm glad I have you on record on saying that. So if you come out, I'm literally gonna grab that little bit of audio. So if you come out and shit the bed, you're like, God damn it, and I'm gonna pull out my phone and play that right there. Like, pull your head out of your ass. Let's go.
Yep.
Pars win holes in the B flight, bud.
That's right. Well,
That's
hey,
why
boys,
birdie.
thank you, everybody, for joining. Uncle Lonnie,
thanks,
thank
Lonnie.
you for joining us. It was great
You're
having
awesome.
you.
Thanks for having me.
We will trade
I
you
like you
for
more than
Kevin
Kevin.
every day of the week.
I like
It's
you a lot
really
more.
great having him here at the end of the show.
I would just like to say
it was such an honor to be on the air with Jace. I mean, to have somebody that is so knowledgeable and so unbiased to be able to talk with and have an intelligent conversation, and it was just a true heartfult moment.
This honestly, me
I
and
don't
you,
think
Uncle
Jason's
Lonnie,
head
was
can fit on
like,
both.
shut up, Andy, I'm talking. Me and you, Uncle Lonnie, was like Einstein and J. Robert Oppenheimer talking nuclear physics and things like that. You just finally had some real people who actually know what's going on and really know the statistics and what's happening in the world. It was just finally nice to inject, instead of only 25% of the truth into this thing, we had both of us. We could finally talk some sense into these people. They obviously aren't converted, but at the same time, we did our best, and we'll just live on knowing that we know what's going on, knowing that we know the truth, and they can live with their biased lives and keep on going, doing what they're doing.
Well, they've truly have bought into this fake news that they have created themselves. I mean, so
I know nothing about this fake news you speak of.
Jesse Baden and Andy Stewart are worse than CNN.
That's messed up, man. That's some messed up stuff.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Well, hey, thank you all. As for Jace, Kevin Robinson, Andy Stewart, and as lucky as we are to have him, Mr. Uncle Lonnie White, we thank you all for joining us in all the Rage Sports. As always, visit our good old golf clap for you. As always, visit us on Facebook. Give us a like. You can go sign up there and donate to our PayPal. You can visit our website on webley.com. You can also go to our host site on Transistor. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Twitter, Instagram, all the fun jazz on those. And then always just in general, just send us a message. Say, what you like to hear, what you liked, what you didn't like. I mean, don't tell us what you didn't like. Just tell us what you liked. And then, hit us up. We'd love to hear from our fans out there and love to talk about you out there. So, hey, everybody have a great night. And as always, Rage on.
Rock and roll, baby.